nobody, like everybody just kind of shut their doors and let businesses die and let the country shut down for 2 years because of COVID. Nobody's doing anything in this war. It's just, this is how it works right now. We are in a phase of global policy where we're isolationist without admitting that we're isolationist. We all just care about how do we keep ourselves, clean and tidy? How do we take care of ourselves here and let the world kind of take care of itself?
Isn't it all about money? Because when you think about the billions of dollars being poured into the weapons that we're giving to the Ukraine, you think of, okay, Lockheed Martin and Raytheon publicly saying that this conflict is good for their shareholders. And so you think like a military industrial complex. And then secondly, you see, okay, we're placing all these sanctions on Russia, but there was another report saying that we also spent close to $1 billion in fuel and minerals. We paid Russia almost $1 billion for fuel and minerals right as we imposed these same sanctions. So it's like we're kind of playing both sides, and Ukraine is caught in the middle.
Yeah, it's not so much about playing both sides, but you're right, it is about money. And understanding how the money flows is one of the things that will help you think of the conflict more through the eyes of a professional intelligence officer. Mm-hmm. Whatever the reports that you're reading, I don't know where they're coming from.
Can you pull up the one about the sanctions?
And I don't know where the sources are, right?
This is it.
Okay.
Oil and gas commodities aren't being... the West each day continues to buy hundreds of millions of dollars worth of resources from Russia, indirectly financing Ukraine's crisis.
Right. So do you know what that means? So it's talking about the West. This is a fantastic study. And this is a fantastic study in headline. In
Scroll down.
No. Stay right here.
Okay,
Stay right here.
Okay.
Because this is a fantastic example of how media messes with our heads every day. They're telling us nothing but getting us to click and read and get all sorts of emotional about it, right? They're calling it the West. The West is the accurate term. They're not calling it the United States. Because do you know what the West includes? All of Europe. More than 40% of Europe's energy comes from Russia. The reason NATO won't take action, the reason the EU wants to stay out of this is because they don't have a choice. They have to play ball with Russia. Their liquid natural gas, their fuel, their crude oil, it's heavily coming from Russia. If they piss off Russia, Russia stops the flow of energy. And do you know what happens when poor countries don't get Russian energy? People freeze to death. People die. Poor people die. Rich people don't die, right? Rich people always have a way of protecting their money. But what ends up happening is when sanctions hit a country like Russia, the poor people in Russia suffer, which then empowers them to believe that the Russian mission is a valiant mission. And then when the sanctions hurt so much that Russia actually jacks up oil prices, like they're already doing in the U.S., they're already messing with oil prices here in the U.S., and people are driving around. You know what Americans do get upset about? Paying $4 at the pump for gas.
Right.
How expensive is a $35,000 a year household? How expensive are they going to let gas get before they say, come on, guys, who cares about Ukraine? Right? That's what's going to happen. Russia knows that's what's going to happen. What this is saying is that the West continues to buy hundreds of millions of dollars in resources from Russia. That is an accurate statement because Europe is dependent on Russia. They're dependent on Russia. Indirectly financing the Ukrainian crisis. Also correct. So here is a statement that is factual, but it's actually intentionally slanted so that when you read it, you think that they're talking about the United States.
So scroll down a little bit. What does it say in the opening paragraph of this? In the 24 hours after Vladimir Putin signed the decree recognizing 2 breakaway Ukrainian territories, the European Union, the UK, and the US bought a combined 3.5 million barrels of Russian oil. I hate
you, media. Do you see how the media is messing with you, man? That when you actually break that out, they are correct. But when you break that out, the US is like 2% of that, 5% of that. Fact check me, people, please.
Maybe you can find something on that, Austin.
Because this stuff pisses me off. This is why, it pisses me off, but it's why I have a job, right? Because I teach this stuff to millionaires. I was telling you earlier, I have a private group of millionaires coming in to work with me this weekend on one of my private events, on one of my private courses, a course I call Streetcraft. Streetcraft takes espionage concepts and applies them to mastering and dominating in your everyday life. And if anybody cares about Streetcraft, you can find it on my homepage. You can find it on my Instagram. You can find it on YouTube, right? The reason that this stuff is valuable is because when left to our own devices, public school teaches us to read current events and trust current events. We have decades of experience trusting current events that come from reputable news sources. With the advent of social media, when information became free and you didn't have to pay 25 cents to go pick up a newspaper, these newspapers have lost their journalistic incentive to produce real news. Now, the journalistic incentive is just to get people to click and read, because the more views that website gets, the more they get to charge for the ads on that website. It's called CPM, right? Count cost per million.
Yep.
Every 1,000 views is a certain
Right.
number of dollars. So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for volume. Media has become a volume game, not a quality game.
How does it make you feel when you see like major news organizations like MSNBC and CNN paying ex-Pentagon officials and CIA people tons of money to be talking heads? I mean, doesn't that make you just like, how does that make you feel? Just first of all, just seeing these ex-people that are now retired from the Pentagon or from the CIA getting paid tons of money to be the news.
Yeah, it's frustrating. They're not getting paid tons of money. Actually, I bet you'd be surprised if you knew how much they get paid. I've been offered the paycheck to come out and do that stuff.
Have you?
Yeah, it's not much. You're talking about $8,000, $12,000. That's a lot of money to some people. Half of that gets taken away by taxes because you're an independent contractor. It's really not a lot of money. What kills me is that egos, these former American officials who have almost in every case retired from service, they have been so heavily indoctrinated in American government and American politics that they've lost their ability to actually view a situation without a bias. They all view it from their own bias instead of seeing the two sides of the equation. Like you were saying, think about this from Putin's perspective. That is a fundamental intel skill. There's no reason that an ex-CIA director shouldn't be able to do that, but they don't do it. You get up there and you see General Petraeus, or you see former Director Hayden, or they get up there and they parrot whatever the mainstream argument is of their political party that they support. They've lost that unbiased position, and it's not their fault necessarily. It's because they're getting paid to come onto a certain news source that's got an audience that believes a certain way, and then they have their own opinion. They have their own political ambitions too. So it's frustrating. It makes me feel sad. It makes me feel irritated. It's why I love coming to talk to you, Danny, because I don't have any political aspirations. And it's very nice to have a place where I can just come and be unbiased and tell people to their face, like, look, if you believe the news, you're the idiot, not me. If you think that Russia invading Ukraine is a surprise, you should have been reading. You could read that in Wikipedia 5 weeks ago and you wouldn't be surprised. It's just people who are letting the media dictate to them what they should be paying attention to right now, which is what the media wants to do, because that's how they make their money. It's all about money. That's just like you said.